Someone taught you these watch rules. A YouTube video, a forum, a guy who owned one Rolex. They sounded smart. They weren't. 10 of the most repeated watch rules are pure fiction, and 5 real ones are being ignored. We're about to fix both. Let's kick off the countdown with number 10. Fake Rule 10. You must wear your watch on your non-dominant wrist. This rule gets repeated so confidently it sounds like physics. Left wrist only. Always. It started when manual wind movements needed crown access for right-handed winders and protection from the dominant hand. That context is gone. Modern movements do not care which wrist you choose. Automatic rotors spin both directions. Crowns are pushed in and forgotten. You are not following a standard. You are following a ghost. Wear the watch on the wrist where it sits best, moves least, and proportions best with your build. That is the only criterion that matters. Nothing prepares you for Fake Rule 9, because this one has been printed in men's style guides for years, and it is still completely wrong. Fake Rule 9. Never wear a dive watch with a suit. Formal occasions demand a slim dress watch, leather strap, thin profile. Anything else is a category error. This gets repeated in style columns and menswear forums as if it were constitutional law. Slim. It isn't. It's a preference dressed up as a principle. Pairing a sports watch with tailoring has been done consistently by executives, diplomats, and people who simply know how to dress for decades. The real issue was never the category. It was proportion, shine level, and overall formality. A clean steel watch on a dark dial next to a well-fitted suit can look more deliberate than a fussy dress watch trying too hard. When the watch's tone matches the outfit's energy, the category label is irrelevant. You're not breaking a rule. The rule was never real. Still, the next fake rule might be the one you're following right now, and it's costing you every time you get dressed. Fake Rule 8. Dress watches belong only on leather. Sport watches belong only on metal. Strap type gets taught as a uniform. Dress watch equals leather. End of conversation. Sport watch equals bracelet or rubber. No exceptions. Mixing the two gets treated like wearing mismatched shoes, a visible error that marks you as someone who does not know better. The reality is that strap swapping is one of the most powerful tools you have. A tool watch on quality leather can look refined and intentional. A dress watch on dark suede can look relaxed and modern. What actually matters is whether the strap's texture, color, and formality level are coherent with the rest of what you are wearing. You do not need a rule about strap materials. You need an eye for coherence. And if that rule sounds rigid, wait until you hear what Fake Rule 7 says about watch size. Fake Rule 7. Real watches start at 40 millimeters. Anything smaller looks weak. The 40mm floor spread through men's watch culture in the early 2000s when oversized fashion watches dominated. Bigger meant more serious. The number 40 became a threshold that separated the informed from the uninitiated. That era is over. The market has shifted back toward 36 to 39mm as the preferred range for daily wear, and yet the 40mm minimum rule keeps circulating, pushing men into watches that overhang their wrist, look borrowed, and wear heavy by mid-afternoon. Case diameter is one measurement out of 3 that actually matters. Lug to lug and case thickness determine how a watch truly sits on your wrist. A 38mm watch with short lugs and a slim profile can own a wrist in a way a 42mm slab never will. You're not buying a floor tile. Size it to your body. What's coming at number 6 might be the most expensive fake rule on this list, because most people are still actively shopping around it. Fake Rule 6. A real collection needs serious luxury brand names. The implicit rule in collector culture is that your watches do not count until you have the right logos. Without a recognizable name on the dial, the collection is amateur hour. This gets reinforced by forums, social media, and the aspirational architecture of the whole watch industry. What it actually produces is buyers chasing status on borrowed confidence, spending money on a name they recognize before they understand what they are buying. They end up with expensive watches they barely wear, bought for imagined occasions, while a $300 field watch gets worn every day. Serious collectors have said it for years. Buy watches, not brands. The logo premium is real. The added utility is often zero. The knowledge gap between buyer and purchase is where regret lives. You are not building a collection. You are building a wish list for someone else's life. Coming up, a fake rule that sounds like quality advice but teaches you to ignore some of the best watches ever made. Fake Rule 5. Quartz movements are for people who don't know better. Quartz is cheap. Quartz is disposable. Quartz is what you buy before you know enough to buy something real. The movement type became a proxy for sophistication, and anyone wearing a battery-powered watch got quietly categorized as a beginner. The history disagrees. The quartz crisis of the 1970s nearly destroyed the Swiss mechanical industry because quartz movements were revolutionary. They were more accurate, more reliable, and far less demanding to maintain. Landmark quartz pieces from Japanese and European manufacturers set design standards that mechanical watches still reference today. For a daily wear piece that goes through real activity, quartz timekeeping and lower service costs are not a compromise. They are an advantage. Dismissing quartz as ignorant is itself ignorant. But Fake Rule 4 might be doing the most quiet damage, because it sounds like it is protecting you when it is actually limiting you. Fake Rule 4. Always demand box and papers or walk away. Box and papers mean authentic. No box, no papers, walk away. It sounds disciplined. It sounds like the advice of someone who has been burned before. Here's the problem. Box and papers are among the easiest components of any watch to replicate. Convincing replica packaging costs almost nothing to produce. Papers can be sourced or fabricated outright. Authentication specialists consistently flag relying on packaging as a primary trust signal as one of the most reliable ways to get fooled. Real verification comes from movement inspection, serial number research, case and dial condition, and buying through sources with track records. Cardboard and a card do not verify a watch. You are not buying a box. Do not let the box do your due diligence. Still, what is waiting at number 3 will genuinely surprise you, because it turns a commonly repeated principle into the thing that is actually making your watch look wrong. Now we are into the top 3, and this is where the fake rules do the most damage. Fake Rule 3. Match your watch to your outfit. This sounds reasonable until you follow it literally, which is exactly what amateurs do. The watch matches the belt, the watch matches the shoes. The result is exhausting coordination, or worse, paralysis, where people avoid wearing watches altogether because nothing matches. The real principle is coherence, not matching. Coherence means the watch's overall tone, its formality, its finish, and its visual weight are in the same register as the outfit. A polished steel watch on a dark dial works across dozens of outfit combinations. A matte field watch fits casual contexts, regardless of what shirt is on. Matching is a beginner's workaround for not understanding coherence. When you understand coherence, you stop needing to match. Fake Rule 2. Swiss made means you are getting quality. Swiss made is treated as a hallmark, a guarantee that what is inside the case represents the best watchmaking traditions in the world. It is what the marketing implies, and it is what a lot of buyers are actually paying for. But the legal definition tells a different story. Under current Swiss law, a watch qualifies as Swiss made if at least 60% of its manufacturing cost originates in Switzerland. Components, dials, and straps can be sourced globally, and the watch still earns the label. Many fashion-adjacent brands use Swiss-labeled movements assembled from internationally sourced parts, wrapped in language that implies something far more artisanal than the reality. Meanwhile, Japanese manufacturers, German workshops, and quality micro-brand producers operate with equal or greater care, and often charge less for it. You're often not paying for Swiss craftsmanship. You're paying for the right to see 2 words on a dial. And the fake rule at number 1 is the one most people are following right now, today, without even knowing it is a rule. Fake Rule 1. Homage watches are just fake watches. This is the most damaging fake rule in watch culture. People equate homage with fake, counterfeit, and fraud, and that chain of equivalence gets repeated constantly, but it is completely wrong. A counterfeit uses another brand's name and trademarks to deceive a buyer into thinking they are purchasing the real thing. That is illegal, and it causes real harm. A homage draws design inspiration from an established reference, while using its own brand name, its own logo, and its own identity. There is no deception and no trademark violation. The design language of watches has always been shared and iterated. Nearly every major category, such as pilot watches, dive watches, and field watches, involves designs that reference and build on each other. Calling a well-made homage a fake watch does not make you a purist. It makes you someone who does not understand the difference between inspiration and fraud. Now you know which rules to ignore. Here are the 5 that actually matter. Real Rule 5. Size it to your body, not to a number. Use 3 measurements together: case width, lug to lug, and case thickness. Make sure the watch does not overhang your wrist and that it sits flush with your wrist's natural curve. It will look better and wear better than any number on a spec sheet. When the proportion is right, the watch disappears into how you move. That is the target. Real Rule 4. Match the occasion's energy, not the outfit's details. Stop coordinating your watch with your belt. Start asking whether the watch's formality level matches the occasion. A clean sports piece handles most of daily life. A dressier piece earns its wear at formal events. A rugged tool watch fits physical and casual contexts. When the watch and the occasion agree, nobody notices the watch. And that is exactly right. Real Rule 3. Understand what you're buying before you buy it. Swiss Made doesn't guarantee what you think. Box and papers don't authenticate what you think. Brand names don't deliver what you think. Before any serious purchase, learn the movement source, the case material, the service interval, and the real cost, and the brand's actual production story. Buyers who do this consistently make better purchases and carry far less regret. Real Rule 2. Buy for the life you actually live, not the one you are planning. The most common expensive mistake in watch collecting is buying for imagined occasions. The formal event that happens twice a year. The dive trip still on the list. The watch that earns the most wear is the one built for your actual daily context. Start there. Everything else is supplementary. Real Rule 1. Coherence beats coordination. Every time. Does the watch's visual weight, finish level, and formality fit the overall tone of how you are dressed and where you are going? When it does, even unconventional combinations look intentional. When it does not, even technically correct combinations look like they are trying too hard. Coherence is not a rule you follow. It is a judgment you develop. And once you have it, you stop needing rules entirely. Most of the rules you were handed weren't protecting you. They were just keeping you manageable. Ignore the fake ones. Apply the real ones, and you'll make better decisions with every watch you ever buy. Like and subscribe for more.